Moving to Colorado was both exhilarating and daunting at the same time. I was excited about the prospect of starting fresh in a new place, but the thought of living alone in a strange city was also intimidating. So I decided to find a roommate to share my apartment with. That's when I turned to Craigslist, scouring through countless ads in search of the perfect match. After a few days of browsing, I stumbled upon Sarah's ad. Her post was well written and detailed, and her photos showed a friendly and approachable young woman. We exchanged a few emails, and we seemed to hit it off right away. As the days went by, Sarah and I continued to bond over our shared interests and love for comedy. One afternoon, while we were cooking dinner together, I couldn't help but express my gratitude towards her. "You know, Sarah, I just want to say that I feel really lucky to have found such an awesome roommate like you." Sarah looked up from chopping vegetables and smiled at me. "Oh, that's so sweet of you to say. I feel the same way about you." I felt a sense of relief wash over me as she spoke those words. It was always a gamble to find a roommate through Craigslist, but it seemed like we were a perfect match. "I mean it though, you're always so responsible and on top of everything, and you're great at keeping our apartment clean." Sarah shrugged modestly. "Well, it's important to me to be a good roommate. I don't want to cause any problems for us." Her words made me feel even more grateful for her. "You're doing an amazing job, Sarah, and I'm so happy that we can do things together too. It's nice to have someone to explore the city with." Sarah nodded in agreement. "Definitely. I'm glad we have similar interests and can enjoy each other's company. I think we really lucked out with finding each other on Craigslist." As we continued to cook and chat, I couldn't help but feel like I had hit the roommate jackpot with Sarah. She was responsible, fun, and truly a great match for me. But as time went on, strange occurrences began to happen around the apartment. I would come home to find objects out of place, or hear strange noises coming from Sarah's room. At first, I tried to ignore it, thinking that it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. The initial positive experience, my relationship with Sarah took a disturbing turn. One night, I woke up to find her standing at the foot of my bed, staring at me with an eerie smile on her face. I was paralyzed with fear, unable to speak or move. Finally, I mustered up the courage to speak. "Sarah, what are you doing? Why are you standing there like that?" Sarah's expression changed to a more normal one, and she let out a small laugh. "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to startle you. I just came to check on you." I felt a wave of relief wash over me as she spoke, but the fear was still there, lingering in the back of my mind. "Why did you need to check on me like that? You could have just called out my name." Sarah shrugged. "I don't know. I just felt like seeing if you were okay, I guess." I didn't buy her explanation. It felt like she was hiding something from me. "That's really creepy, Sarah. You can't just come into my room like that. It's not okay." Sarah's smile faded, and she looked at me with a serious expression. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again." As she left the room, I couldn't help but feel uneasy. I didn't know what to make of the situation, or if I could trust her. The incident left me feeling on edge and uncomfortable around her, and I started to wonder if I should start looking for a new place to live. The next day, I received an anonymous message warning me about Sarah's true identity. It claimed that she was not who she seemed, and that I should be careful around her. I was skeptical at first, but as I started to investigate, I realized that there might be some truth to the message. I began to notice that Sarah was never home during certain times of the day, and that she was always secretive about where she was going. She also had strange visitors who would come to the apartment at odd hours and quickly leave without saying a word. As I delved deeper into the mystery, I received more anonymous messages, each one revealing a new piece of information about Sarah's past. Some claimed that she was involved in a secret cult, while others said that she was a wanted criminal on the run. Despite the mounting evidence against her, I couldn't bring myself to confront Sarah. I was afraid of what I might find out and was worried that she might retaliate if she found out that I was investigating her. But as the messages became more frequent and more threatening, I knew that I had to act. I decided to set up a hidden camera in the apartment to see if I could catch Sarah doing something suspicious. What I found was both shocking and terrifying. Sarah had been using her room to perform strange rituals, and the visitors that came to the apartment were members of a cult that she was leading. I was horrified and knew that I had to get out of there as soon as possible. I packed my bags and left the apartment without telling Sarah. As I walked away, I couldn't help but wonder what other secrets she was hiding and who else might be in danger because of her. It was a rainy night in May 2010 when I found myself in the city of Seattle. I had been searching for a car for weeks, and finally, I stumbled upon a 2010 Honda Civic on Craigslist that looked perfect. The price was right, the pictures looked good, and the owner seemed nice enough. Little did I know that this decision would lead me down a dangerous path. As I drove my new car, a red Honda Civic that I bought on Craigslist, I noticed a small keychain hanging from the rearview mirror. It was a simple silver keychain with a small black and white photo of a young woman. I felt a twinge of curiosity about the woman in the photo, but I quickly pushed it aside and focused on driving. I was excited to have a new car, and I couldn't wait to take it for a spin. Days later, I decided to clean out the trunk and see what was back there. That's when I saw the keychain again, and I realized that I still didn't know anything about the woman in the photo. I felt a little uneasy, like there was something I was missing, but I couldn't put my finger on it. As I was rummaging around in the trunk, I noticed a small latch that I hadn't seen before. My curiosity got the better of me, and I used the keychain to open the latch. That's when I found the diary. At first, I didn't think much of it. It was just a small, leather-bound notebook with yellowed pages and a musty smell. But as I started reading, I realized that it contained detailed plans for a bank robbery. I felt a jolt of fear and anxiety as I read through the pages, realizing that I was in possession of evidence from... The more I read, the more my emotions spiraled out of control. I felt a sense of panic and urgency, knowing that I had to act quickly to uncover the truth before the robbers came after me. At the same time, I felt the rain started pouring down as I sped down the highway trying to think of a plan. I had to figure out who the robbers were and why they had used this car. But every time I tried to piece together the clues, my mind went blank. As I pulled into my driveway, I realized that I had no answers. The mystery of this car and its past had consumed me, but I was no closer to solving it. And as I looked back at the car, I couldn't help but wonder what other secrets it held. The next day, I called the police and told them everything I knew. They promised to investigate, but I knew that it was unlikely that they would find anything. The robbers were still out there, and they had taken their secrets to the grave. Keychain and the photo had been a piece of narrative foreshadowing that I had initially overlooked, but now they had become a vital part of the puzzle, and I was determined to use them to uncover the truth and clear my name. As I raced against time to uncover the truth, my emotions swung wildly between fear, excitement, and determination. The mystery car and the diary hidden in its trunk had taken over my life, but I knew that I had to find a way to solve this puzzle. So I sold the car and moved on with my life. But the memory of that mystery car and the diary hidden in its trunk haunted me for years to come. In the autumn of 2018, I visited my girlfriend Lily in a small town in the middle of the desert. She told me she was planning to move to a new apartment and needed my help. So I agreed to stay for a few days to help her and experience the town's unique charm. Lily found a Craigslist ad for a pink grand piano and asked me to accompany her to check it out. The seller went by the name of Jack, and gave us the address of an abandoned warehouse. As we walked in, the place was empty with only a few scattered items lying around. I could tell that Lily felt uneasy, and I urged her to be careful. Jack greeted us and led us to where the pink grand piano was located. As we inspected the piano, Lily grew increasingly excited, and I could see she wanted it. After a bit of negotiation, we agreed on a price, and I went to get the cash from Lily's car. As I returned to the warehouse, my phone rang and I answered it. Unfortunately, it was an unknown number, and a voice on the other end said, "Don't buy the piano. Get out of there." Before I could respond, the call ended, and my heart raced. I tried to text the number back, but it wouldn't go through. I thought about leaving, but didn't want to disappoint Lily, so I continued with the purchase. After handing over the money, Jack insisted on carrying the piano to Lily's car. As we walked through the empty warehouse, when we finally arrived at Lily's car, Jack handed me the piano, and as he did, he whispered, "I know you." His words sent a chill down my spine, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was in danger. I turned to face him, but he was already walking away, disappearing into the abandoned warehouse. I turned to Lily, hoping to share my unease, but she was too busy admiring the piano to notice anything strange. As we drove away, I couldn't help but wonder who Jack was and how he knew me. I felt like I was in the middle of a mystery, and I wouldn't say I liked it. In the end, I couldn't resist the urge to go back to the abandoned warehouse and find out what was really going on. However, as I was driving, an unknown message flashed on my phone, urging me to stay out of trouble. Despite my curiosity, I decided to heed the warning and not go back. As I drove on the American desert highway, I couldn't help but marvel at the vast expanse of land around me. The sun was beating down mercilessly, and the heat was almost unbearable. The desert stretched out as far as the eye could see, with sand dunes, the landscape. I couldn't help but feel small and insignificant in the face of such a majestic and unforgiving environment. The road ahead of me seemed endless, and I felt like I was on a journey to the unknown. The barren landscape had a certain allure that was hard to resist, and I couldn't help but wonder what kind of secrets lay hidden in the desert. Despite the heat and the warnings on my phone, I felt a sense of adventure and excitement, knowing that I was experiencing something truly unique and unforgettable.